Well, now let's take a look at the cost of production per clutch. We have two basic indicators, the capex and the opex. So the capex is pretty much the capital investment that I did on my collection. So that's the money that I spent buying the ball pythons, buying the racks, and also the tools. In simple terms, it's my investment. Now the OPEX is the operational investment, how much it costs me to keep my operation going on a daily basis. So I count at the OPEX the rodent bill, the water, electricity. I don't count the labor, and that's pretty much it. So it's like fixed costs as the capex and variable costs as the OPEX. So capital investment, fixed cost, capex, and variable investment, it's the OPEX, the operational costs of it. Let's analyze it in more detail. Regarding the first clutch that I got from the Cinnamon female and the Enchi Fire male that I bought from Anastasia, this is the price that I paid for them. It's Russian prices, they are double. In terms of capital investment, I had to buy a rack and I started investing in tools. Oh, I forgot to mention subtract also as the operational investment. So I counted the subtract, I gave 10 bucks for electricity and water, and we have the rodent bill, which brings us, so the total expense on a 3-year business plan on the first clutch was around 650 euros. The annual investment, it's the price of the snakes and racks and tools depreciated by 3 years. I do a 3-year business plan, so it's the total value, the total cost of racks, snakes and tools divided by 3. And yearly expenses, they are what I considered the money that I spent until the female laid the eggs. Can be 1 year or 2 years. So this is pretty much the rodent bill. With the first clutch I had a bit of a misfortune. 5 eggs died in the box, and then one died a few days later in my hand. So out of the 9 laid, I got 3. I sold 2 of them. So this clutch was a total loss. I calculated 73 euros per egg. And yeah, I'm on deficit here. So I hatched a couple of Enchi Fires and I held back the Enchi Fire Mon. In terms of graphics, we can see the capital investment here on the female in blue, 37%. The male was less expensive, and then so usually 50% or 2/3 it's the investment on the snakes. In my case, there's 8% on the rack, 8% on tools, little bit on subtract and electricity and water. And then the rodent bill, it's usually between 10 and 20%, in this case 14%. In another figure, in terms of total investment, or total expense, that's half of the total expense. The annual investment a quarter, a little bit less for depreciation, and the yearly expenses, the OPEX, 10% invested on the production of this clutch of eggs. Regarding the second clutch, it was my Spymo bred to the pinstripe that turned out to be proven genetically as a pinstripe passer or a lemon blast. You can see the numbers here. I'm just gonna go through them quickly. So this one had a similar expenditure. The female was a bit cheaper and she was already 4 or 5 years old, so I had only 1 year of feeding, and it cost me 71 euros per egg. She laid 7 eggs, 1 was totally a dud, and 2 boob eggs didn't make it to the final stage of development, so this was also a loss. And I hatched the spider web and the pinstripe that I sold. I held back the Spinner Blast and the Spinner Blast Ave. So slightly different numbers here. The female cost me around the 5th, the male a bit more, around the 3rd, and then the rack also around the 10%, rack tools, subtract a bit more, and then the rodent bill a little bit more than the previous one. Regarding the annual investment, just for you guys to see, 50% of total expenditure, annual investment a quarter, and then depreciation around 10%, and the rodent bill, pretty much the yearly expenses around 15%. Clutch. So you see the numbers here, which resumes to the 300 euros per egg. I sold 2 of them at the last Reptilium last month, the Pastel and the Lesser post-head clowns, and I'm trying to sell 3 others, but I gotta double the price as in the Russian market, and people don't want to spend all that money, so I'm holding them back. The Pastel Leopard, the Pastel Lesser Leopard, this one here, she is a holdback, she is not for sale. Once again, just to go quickly, the female was more expensive and the male as well, so they account for 3/4 of the total investment on this project, and once again the rodent bill around 15%. Still, this graphic is pretty much unchanged. Okay, let's go quickly through the first clutch. This was the original, the first ball pythons that I bought. Took me like 2 years. Yeah, she laid when she was around 2.5 years. I paid dearly for a Super Pastel. Can you believe this? 500 bucks. Triple the price, minimum. Triple the price as done in the European markets. And this will have a cost on the production of the eggs. So total expense a bit higher than what I would hope for. She laid 6 good eggs, although one is a bit deformed. I don't know if he's gonna survive. The little bugger probably won't make it. So a cost of around 170 euros per egg. As they are mostly double combos, I have Super Pastel and Lemon Blast and a Killer Blast. I'll probably be able to sell them for around 200 bucks each, and hopefully I don't plan on holding back any of them, and hopefully this clutch will pay for itself. Let's see in a few months how it goes. And again, the same numbers. The Super Pastel should have been at least a third less expensive, but we got pretty much the same numbers in terms of capital investment. So female, male, rec and tools, and then the operational investment around 24% total. In terms of this graphic here, annual investment 50%, a quarter, and then an eighth for each one of them. On another topic regarding incubation, the first clutch was incubated on the styrofoam incubator with a temperature of 29 degrees, that's around 84 Fahrenheit, and it took me, I cut them at day 74, 75, but I should have waited an extra week. Probably they would have peeped around day 80. So when the temperature is lower, it takes them a little bit more time to hatch. So per each rule of thumb, each centigrade degree below the standard 32, it takes an extra week. Regarding the maternal incubation clutch, I had temperatures on the clutch of eggs around 30-31 degrees, so that's around 86-88 Fahrenheit, and they took me an extra week to peep. The 66 days compared to the 58-60 standard days, it's a fairly acceptable time period for me to do maternal incubation. Now I know what to expect in the future. Regarding the third clutch, the head clown to head clown project, I decided to buy a little incubator, the Lucky Reptiles. It's kind of like the Exoterra incubator. I'll show you what I mean. So it's this little incubator. The temperature is usually at 89 Fahrenheit, 31.6. Now it just heated up, went through a heating cycle, so it's at 32, and I still have the egg in there. Let's see if this little bugger makes it or not. So we just saw the temperature fluctuation on this Lucky Reptiles incubator is around 2 Fahrenheit or 1 degree, so it varies a little bit from 31, 32, so that's 88, 90. I have it set to 89, and I'm happy with the incubation period around the 60-day mark, so I'm fairly happy on this clutch. Let's see the next one. I almost forgot to mention, on the 3-year business plan, I do the depreciation of the price of the snakes, the capital investment on the animals, on tools and racks. So pretty much I divide the price by 3, fairly simple. Regarding the rack, this melamine rack here on my left, it has 8 tubs, so I do the capital investment of the rack divided by the 3 years and divided by 4. If it has 8 slots, can house 8 snakes, why do I divide it by 4? Because it's a male and a female. They occupy a quarter of the real estate, if we can say so. It's fairly easy calculations, it's not that complicated. Let me know, guys, if you have more experience on this, if you have an accountant's degree, if you know somebody that can correct the way that I'm calculating this price per egg. So as you saw, it fluctuates from the 70 euros to 170, and the more expensive one 300 euros per egg. There are different factors that can influence the cost of production. I think I get the rodents at a fairly cheap price. I get like 3 frozen thawed mice for €1 or $1, so they're around 35 cents per unit. If you bought ARS Rex or Freedom Breeder Rex, if you're in the United States, probably your expenses will grow. And if you're not doing the classic ball python morphs, as I call it in a fancy way, the dog shit, the single morphs and double combos, you probably are investing on medium ends and even some high-end snakes like a powerhouse male. So extra money spent on better infrastructure, mainly racks and higher end morphs of the snakes, that will bring your cost of production higher. But the return on the investment will be also much higher than mine. You will be hatching Batmans and the sorts of like, and whereas I'm hatching single morphs and double combos, the classic stuff that was done 15-20 years ago, and I'm selling them for $100-200. These are Russian prices, so single morphs in American market and in European market, they're sold pretty much $50 a morph. So if you have a double combo 100, triple combo 150, here I sell them as twice as much. So let me know, guys, how, if you have done this sort of work, if you have the numbers since the beginning, when you started your collection, you still have the receipts of the racks and tools, and you know how much you spend per snake. And if you keep good records on the feeding, if you know the rodents, where you buy them, you know an average cost of buying rodents, and you know you fed mice or small rats or medium rats, just do the calculation. It's a couple hours of work, but it's fun. Alright, that's a wrap for today, guys. See you on the next video.